All right, welcome back to the next video in my series where I'm working through the challenges in my book, The C Sharp Player's Guide. In this one, we're going to deal with this Pits expansion for the Fountain of Objects game, where we're going to add in some pits that if you step into, you die. Also, we will have to add in the ability to sense that these are around. And let's see. So it tells us we're going to add one to the 4x4 one. This also says 2 pits to the 6x6 and 4 pits to the 8x8 world. We've already done that one. That's you may not have, but that's the small, medium, or large one. So we're going to add them to all of those. And so a fairly small challenge, I think, by comparison to the original game. I'm going to scoot this off to the side so I can see the numbers. And the first thing I'm going to do is come in here, and we're going to take our little maps here, and we're going to put a pit. So let's see. Let's say a pit is, I don't know, black. Makes sense, right? Maybe a dark gray. And it said two pits in this 6x6. So I don't know. Maybe there's a pit here and a pit. Let's make this a little bit challenging. Let's put it right here. Pit here. And then 4 pits in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's what our world is going to look like. We'll come back to this in a minute. Is there any change we need to make here? I think there is. For example, I think we're going to add a pit room. And so this is just going to be just like any other room. We've already done, excuse me, already done several of these. And then we'll just need to set these up and then handle the logic for if you, the sensing, and also if you end up in one, then you die. So let's jump over to the code. So step 1 is, let's go down to our rooms. And again, I don't think this has any, there's no data that a pit room has. It's not like a fountain where it can be turned on and off. It's just always there. And then we need to come up here and populate our world. It's in here. I collapsed this last time. And so if we're making a small game, we said, let me bring this up on the other screen so I can refer to it. So map.set room. This is row 2, column 1, new pit room. Here we've got 2 of them, so map.set room. Let's see, row 0, column 0, 1, 2, 3. New pit room. Map.set room at, let's see, 5, 4, so 4 and 4. New pit room. Actually, you know what? Oh, okay. I was gonna say I don't want to. Nothing to worry about. I was just gonna say I don't think we want a pit right by the entrance. And in my head, I was thinking this was the entrance. You don't want to start with saying, "Oh, you sense you feel a breeze coming from a pit," right at the start because you have no clue which. There's no way to figure it out. You would just have to take a guess and hope you live. But yeah, in this case, this is by the fountain, not by the entrance, so everything's okay. And let's see. So in the large room, we have map.set room. We got row 1, column 0, 1, 2. And there's also one on row 1, column 6, and there's one at column 4, 2 on column 4. One of them is on row 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not 14. 6. So that puts the room into the map. We do need to add in the ability to sense stuff. So we could just come in here and just say sense pits. Just add another method here. Like I said, it's getting more and more and more of these. So maybe some of these could be something else. All right, so this is a little different than the fountain room and the entrance room where we sense something only for in the actual room. In this case, we need to look around us. We need to look to the room left, right, north, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest to see. So it isn't just a single room. So let's do something like this. Bool can sense pit equal. So we're going to assume that we can't. And then we're going to go through each of those directions. And we're going to just check and see. So if we actually had, there was, trying to find it. We already had a thing that would take a direction. Does this move? This. So yeah, so this code here, like basically I want this exact same code. I want to be able to, well, maybe that's not. Let's do this. Let me go back to where I was. It's probably okay. So we want map dot player dot not map, just player dot location dot row -1 player dot location dot column -1 is pit room can sense pit is true. Now that's long. One thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to get the player dot just going to get the player location once, and it's going to get a little shorter. All right, so if we, one row over, one column over is pit room, can sense pit is true. And then we need to do column +0 is pit room and +1. So that's the whole, let's see, that's the row above us. One column over, straight up, and one column. So yeah, this is northwest of us. This is north, this is northeast. And we need this times that many more. So just basically try all the combinations here. This one, we should never really end up in, well, maybe we, yeah, anyway. So, like, yeah, this one, I don't know that we'll ever actually sense it. We'll be dead by the time we move into this. So maybe that doesn't matter. There's one thing that we haven't solved, and that is what happens if this is off by, like, what happens if this puts it off the map? And we'll deal with that in just a second. I just want to finish kind of my thought here. So if can sense pit, then we want to do something like this. It's actually not even that complicated. It's like this. What color do we want our pit message to be? And what is the text that goes into that? And let me look this up really quick. You feel a draft. There's a pit in a nearby room. Oh, there's not a ton of color choices, so we just got to pick something. Let's do gray. All right, I don't need any more of this. So we're gonna go through all the rooms adjacent to us, and we're gonna and see if they're a pit room, and if they are, then we'll say can sense pit is true, and then so for any of these that we find that is a pit, then if we look in all of these 9 directions, and if any of them are a pit, then we'll say that. So we check all the directions. The catch is what happens if we're right along the edge and this is looking to the space just off the map. And one possibility here is we could do something like if map.is on map current.row -1 current.column -1 and something like that, except for that's not compiling. Oh, this apparently needed a location. So we could do new location, something like that. So we could do that check. That's not a horrible way to do it. So if it's on the map, only then will we actually, ask the map to get that room. And we just do basically the same thing for all of these. And we could do something like location to check equals new location current.row -1 current.column -1, and then we check. Could do something like that, and then just update. So make compute the next one and the next one and the next one, and do that times all 9 of these. I like that approach. I think that's a fine approach, but I'm actually going to undo this a little bit, and I'm gonna employ a slightly different strategy, where I'm going to did a lot more here than I was expecting. All right, what I'm going to do is go in here, and I'm going to kind of handle it at this level. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new room type off map. And then in here, if somebody says, get me a room, so basically what I'll do is, well, first things first, let's get rid of the duplication here. Say, well, okay, let's fix that in 1 second. What I'll do here is I'll say is on map the location, actually, given that that one needs, I keep changing my mind here. Sorry about the whiplash. So rooms is on map location. If it's on the map, we're going to use the actual rooms. Otherwise, we're going to return, we're going to say new off map. So it's a new room type that's like anywhere that isn't the actual map. So somebody asks for a room, and this location isn't part of the formal map. We'll just give them this. Which means now with this in here, somebody could ask for a room negative 2,000 and positive 448 if they wanted to. So I like that flexibility. The thing is we'd have to add it here. What I'm going to do instead is make this just be a wrapper around this. So I'm only maintaining the details in one of these and just say return get room new location row column. So if you call this version, it'll just call this version, just taking your row and column. So this one ends up being kind of the more quote unquote real version. There's no specific reason in this case that I'm thinking of why this should be the real version instead of this, other than this is on map happens to have a location. We could change that, or we could make an overload of this one as well. So either way, I think would work just fine. So now in this code here, we could get like what we won't. It won't blow up on us. We won't get outside of the allowed range. But what we might get back is an off map room, which is fine. It won't be a pit room, and we'll be fine. So the only thing left here is we need to set it up so that you can die. And that can be in here while not has won and not has lost. Let me just get in here and say private bool has lost if it's actually basically this. If the player's room is a pit room, return true. They have lost. Otherwise, return false. So I think that we now have the ability to die. And we should be able to sense the pits. Let's give this a whirl and see. But I think this should be it. Let's do small to start. I'm going to pull up my map, my cheat sheet. So the pit. So if we move south, we should be able to feel the breeze from the pit. You feel a draft, there's a pit in a nearby room. That's correct. So if we move south, we should still be able to see it. I'm going to rearrange this a little bit so you can see it better. So we are at row 2, so we're right here. So if I say move south, I still have that. Move. Oh, there should be a space right there. Let's make sure to get that back in. Move east. Move east. So now we've come over to here. Move north. Move north. So now we're here. I actually want to fall into the pit. Move south and then move west. This should move us into the pit. Okay. I mean, the game ended, but the way we got our code, it just says you won, even though we didn't. So a couple of little things to fix here. And one of them is the stat sensing. Put a space there. And then this here, that when the game ends, is it? If has won, do all this. Else. You died. You lose. So what would be kind of nice here, and maybe we can make this red. What would be kind of nice here is if it could tell us why we died. So right now, if we just go walk into the I mean, right now there's only one way to die. So like, I guess we could say you fell fell into a pit and died. Maybe that's good enough for now. I think we're gonna have other ways to die in a little bit, so maybe we punt on the details. But I think that solves it. Let's check really quick. Let's see. So players can sense the draft blowing out of the pits in adjacent rooms, all 8 directions. We got that. There's a pit in a nearby room. It says that. If a player ends their turn in a room with a pit, they lose the game. I think we got that. And then it says how many to add for the different sizes. So yeah, I think this covers it. I think we're there. I think we've added in pits now. I think the one catch here is we assume that if they lost, they fell into a pit. But that assumption is true for right now. When we add in other ways to die, it might be nice to flesh that out a little bit. So maybe we'll do that next time. But I think that's it for now. And that's it for this video. Thanks for joining me.